Dr. Jin and a few members of his surgical team entered the room. Each one wearing a scrub suit prepared for the procedure. Dr. Jin pointed at the uneaten food on the plate in my lap. "What's this?" he asked. "Aren't you hungry?" Before I could respond, he smiled warmly and asked, "Does Drive Hyo has anything to do with this?" He has a habit of distracting people when he gets caught up in something. I couldn't help but be amused by his insight. Nodding to confirm his suspicions, I followed it up with saying, "It appears you know us both too well." He motioned with his hand for me to get up and follow him. Sliding my feet over the edge of the bed, I stood up straight and took a few steps in his direction. Then he waved his hand quickly as if he wanted me to pick up the pace. "You know," he said, "it is our policy to take you to the operating room on a gurney or in a wheelchair. But I thought after you've been laid up for so long you might want to walk." The thing about Dr. Jin and his doctor-patient relationship, it seemed he was always looking beyond just physical health. His methods were very reassuring. This was the first time venturing out of my room on my own 2 feet. The hallway was cold and I felt a chill coming over me. As we walked past many rooms and workstations, it seemed as if everyone we passed would look my way and bow courteously. Some would whisper to one another quietly as I passed. "Pay no attention to the staff murmurings," Dr. Jin mentioned in a low voice. "When we brought these people here on staff to help us with your rehabilitation, they were advised that it would take months or possibly even years for you to progress to this point. And in a very short time, here you are walking and talking as if nothing ever happened. Even though many people consider me to be the foremost expert here, I have to admit that even I can't explain it from a purely scientific standpoint. But I am willing to accept miracles if they are offered to me without question." As we reached the end of the hallway, we approached a large double-swinging door with glass panels in the top half allowing me to see into the room. I stopped before entering. Peering into the room, it resembled the operating rooms just like those you would see on TV dramas. Cold, sterile, and neatly arranged. There were a few nurses in surgical scrubs preparing trays on rolling carts next to the operating table. I suppose I should have been nervous, but after all, I had been through this almost seemed routine. Looking back at Dr. Jin, he simply gestured with his hand for me to enter into the room before him, to which I readily complied. Upon entering the operating room, the nurses bowed and stood back to allow me a clear walkway to the operating table. Dr. Jin grabbed a hold of my right arm above the elbow and said, "Shall we get started?" Together we walked to the edge of the bed where he offered his assistance as I climbed up to prepare for the surgery. Laying down and wiggling to get comfortable, the staff around me began to prepare for what was coming next. One of the nurses inserted an IV into my left hand and injected something into the portal. Dr. Jin's gloved hand patted me on the shoulder as he spoke. "We will be putting you under the anesthetic now. Get some rest. If all goes according to plan and these sensors work as they are intended to, tomorrow we may even let you venture out into the real world to see how you do. What do you think about that?" I tried responding to the question, but the effects of the drugs were overriding my ability to speak or to even nod my head. This should be over soon and I really like the idea of venturing out into the real world once again. I have a lot to look forward to. But for now, I must sleep as my dream world begins to pull me in.